everyone. I want to show you today exercise from high school exam on the basic level in Poland from 2007. Yeah, this is the year, and it's can let you score 5 points, so it's quite a lot. And you can read it in Chinese here. Matura high school exam in Poland is similar to Gaokao test in China, which will determine if you go to university or not. So this example here, you can read it in Chinese, in English. A car traveled 210 kilometers in a certain amount of time. So you can say that 210 is the distance. If it had traveled at an average speed 10 kilometers faster, the travel time would have been reduced by half an hour. Calculate the average speed of a car. So it seems to be difficult because they don't provide much data, right? We don't know much here. We just know the distance, which is s is 210 kilometers. Then we know that we only know that if speed was 10 kilometers faster. We don't know what is the speed, and we know only partially the time. So we need to do a little bit of mathematical modeling to solve this kind of problem. And first of all, we need to isolate time from this equation. This is from physics. You remember, for the average speed, v velocity equals to distance divided by time. So from this, we need to find out what does t equal. So in order to do that, you can divide both sides by s, by distance. So just divide it by s and v divided by s. So what's going to happen here, we will simplify. S will be gone, so you have 1 over t. So you have v over s equals 1 over t. Then you will take the reciprocal number, reciprocal. So you need to reverse this, and you will get that t equals s divided by v. This is the formula for time. And from this formula from time, we'll establish an equation which will help us to find the average speed. So you need to know what is the first time, because we only know the time, right? So we know that the first time was distance 210 divided by v, by speed, right? This is the first time. First, we can derive the first time, how much time it took. But the second one will be 210 over v plus 10. So we can write it like this is t1, this is t2. Time when the speed was slower. This one, t2, is time when the speed was 10 kilometers per hour faster. So now it's still very difficult to establish an equation, but we know that the time would have been reduced by half an hour. So what can we get out of it? That if you deduct or subtract these two speeds, what you will have left will be only half an hour. And that will help you establish the equation. So you need to know which one you should subtract. Which one is longer. So you need to determine which time was longer, which time was shorter. So the time which is shorter is time t2. So we need to do is t1 minus t2 equals 1.5. And that will be our solution. I mean, that will be our equation. This is our base equation. T1 minus T2 equals 1 half. So instead of T1, we need to substitute these values with T1 and T2. So we write equation 210 over V minus 210 over V plus 10 equals a half. So we need to eliminate denominator. We have denominator in this and it's not very helpful. So I propose first multiply both sides by V to eliminate V from the denominator, and later multiply by V times 10. So we'll get something like that. V 210 over V minus V times 210 divided by V plus 10 equals a half of V. Then this one will simplify. You will have 210 minus 210V over V plus 10 equals a half V. Now to continue, now we need to eliminate this V plus 10 from the denominator, make it difficult for us. So now we'll again multiply both sides by V plus 10, and then you will get V plus 10 in brackets 210 minus V plus 10 V 200 sorry, it will be 210V over V plus 10 equals to V plus 10 multiplied by a half V. So what we're gonna get here, you will get, first one we simplify, we need to multiply each part by each part. So it will be 210. Sorry, it's just too big. I need to make it a little bit small. So you'll get 210 V plus 10 times 210 equals to 2100 minus, and here we're gonna simplify this. We will remove, they will be reduced, right, eliminated, because we can divide them by each other. Okay, so 210V plus 2100 equals, minus 210V equals to, again, here do the same, we multiply this times that. So what we're gonna get is a half V squared plus 5V. That's from multiplication of these parts. Then you see we can eliminate, because we have 210V minus 210V, so we only get expressions such as a half V squared plus 5V equals to 2100. And just to make it a little bit easier, we can multiply by 2 times 2, because we don't need a fraction here. You can solve it this way, but fraction is more difficult to calculate, so we will get v squared plus 5v minus, and now we multiply. We can move this to the left side. We have a very neat quadratic equation. V squared plus 5v equals v squared plus 5v minus 4200 equals 0. Okay, this is already a simple quadratic equation, and we can solve it using quadratic formula or factoring. I think this will be easier to solve it using quadratic formula. So remember, this is discriminant. Discriminant equals to b squared minus 4ac. And this part which you see, this is a, this is your b, this is your c, right? A, coefficient b, and constant c. And from this, you take these values and you calculate discriminant. So it will be, we made a funny mistake here, right? Because I multiply by 2. So this should be 10v, not 5v. So here we need to write 10v. Okay, v squared plus 10 plus 10v minus 4200 equals 0. Okay, so let's substitute and let's calculate what is discriminant. So for discriminant it will be 100 minus 4 times 1 times 4200. So discriminant is equal to, pay attention because it's minus, it's negative. It's negative 4200. Here we have negative, right? Therefore it will change to plus. So it will be 100 multiplied 4 times 4200 is equal to 16,800. So remember, it's not 100 minus 16,800, but 100 plus 16,800 because this is negative. C equals negative 4200, not positive 4200. So we get that discriminant equals to 16,900, right? Therefore, square root delta equals 130. It's just like square root 169 equals 13. Here we just have two zeros, so we add zeros and we can easily calculate it. And from this, you remember that to calculate roots x1, x2, that one from quadratic formula equals minus b minus square root delta over 2a. That one equals minus b plus, because we have two roots, root x1 and x2, so they're very similar. They just, first one you subtract square root delta, and the second one you add the square root delta, minus b plus square root delta over 2a. So the first x1 you can calculate is negative 10. This is minus b. You see that b equals 10. Here you can see coefficient b equals 10. So it was minus b minus 130 divided by 2. That will be minus 10 minus, that will be 60. That will be 120, sorry. 120 over 2. You will get 60. And here you will get 70, minus 70. So we can eliminate minus 70 because minus 70 is negative number and speed cannot be equal to 70. So therefore we know that average speed V equals to 60 kilometers an hour. And that's our solution. Just one more time, let's verify. Minus 10 minus 130. How much is it? Hmm. That was actually minus minus 140. 140 divided by 2. So this is minus 70. Not this formula, right? This is 60, this is minus 70. So if you add these values, you get this one is leads to the correct answer. This will be 60. This will be 60, but if you 2 times connect this negative number, that will be minus 70. Okay, and that will be the answer. Okay, that's how we can solve it. That's all. Thank you. Hope you can learn something from this. That's all for now.